the Jane Addams. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny and pleasant with a high near 80. Partly cloudy and 60 overnight. Nice and sunshiny tomorrow, high 82. 61 at O'Hare. Your next news is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Before Trump jetted down to North Carolina for that rally, he was in Howell, Michigan. And this was the subject of an effort to gin up some controversy by the D.C. press corps in town for the DNC. Of course, they're the comm shop for the party that's having their convention in Chicago. So, of course, they're there. Lindsay Davis is not only an ABC reporter, she's also going to be one of the moderators of the debate.
Oh, boy.
And this is the question that she put to the Eva Peron of East Lansing, Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
As you know, former President Donald Trump is expected to go campaign in Howell, Michigan tomorrow. Many people are aware that a month ago in Howell, KKK protesters marched in the streets with the white robes on and suggested that they support Donald Trump. I'm curious if you make anything about that connection and him going in particular to Howell tomorrow.
Yeah, very innocently constructed question there, not intending to lead Gretchen Whitmer to any place in particular. Well, Trump, when he was in Howell, Michigan, was, of course, asked the same question that Lindsay Davis put to Whitmer because, well, they share one brain, so they're going to share the same script.
Who was here in 2021? Joe Biden. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Joe Biden campaigned there in 2021.
It's a nice moment, but I wish Trump would have done something in addition to spiking the football, which was appropriate. She would have said, yeah, Joe Biden was here in 2021. I'm here because XYZ. I'm here because I want to compare and contrast what I'm proposing to do to provide opportunities to people that don't have them because of their, let's, for example, say, their address and their household income. So where Kamala and Field Marshal Walz and the Obamas and everybody else is there partying in Chicago with Randy Weingarten and the teachers union, who are the Orville Faubuses of the day. I'm out here in places like Howell, Michigan, reminding people that I'm a proponent of school choice. I'll support those advocating and fighting for it at the state level. 31 states have some form of school choice now, opportunity scholarships. Not only that, when all this talk about the Department of Education, dismantling the Department of Education, no, I'm not going to dismantle it. I mean, maybe in the form it's currently in which it's currently constituted, but I'm going to take that $50 billion, roughly the budget of the Department of Education, and I'm going to turn it into one big opportunity scholarship program. And I'm just going to drop ship money. I'll have employees, and we can have many fewer employees at the Department of Education when it's just a grant funding organization. I'm just going to drop ship money to school districts for families that can't get scholarships locally. And I'll just come over the top and provide scholarships directly to families and let them make the choices for their kids' education, since there are people in places like, I don't know, Chicago and Illinois that oppose school choice for mainly minority kids. In fact, they just took away a school choice program that mainly benefited minority families and their kids. That would have been a moment. It's not enough to spike the football. Do something with it, like running. For more on this topic, specifically school choice, pleased to be joined by Joshua Robertson, who's a senior pastor of the Black Rock Church in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and founder and CEO of Black Pastors United for Education. Pastor Robertson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be on.
So you had this piece in the Wall Street Journal last week about black voters demanding school choice. I wish they'd make, they and everybody else would make their demands more vociferous in places where it doesn't exist. But, I mean, is there any real question about the positions of the two presidential candidates when it comes to school choice?
Well, I think the current candidates have a tremendous opportunity to respond, and that's partly why I wrote that op-ed, because black voters and voters, outside of just black people, have clearly voiced that we want school choice in America. The school choice laws are by and large a Republican proposal, but it's amazing to have overwhelming Democratic support and Republican support, and then you look at polls specific to black people in America, and all of it points towards school choice. And as a member of the black community, I look at my own community and I see the absolute need for robust educational offerings. I see the need for parents being in the driver's seat of their children's education. And I see also the need of our public schools. Our public schools need a lifeline. They should not have to shoulder all of the weight to educate our kids. Our kids need, robust offerings. And so we're just wondering why our lawmakers sometimes don't hear our voices.
Well, the Democratic lawmakers in Illinois took away the tax credit scholarship program. You're aware of that, right?
Yes, I'm aware. Mm-hmm.
Well, what are your thoughts on that? It was one political party that did it.
Well, at the end of the day, I look at both parties and I look at them as responsible, because at the end of the day, they have to negotiate, and something got passed, and so somebody had to give, somebody had to take. So I don't look at one party as being responsible for it. I look at altogether, the decision was not to have it, and so that impacts our kids. And so I think that our Democratic leaders, our Republican leaders, they need to work together to get these deals done, and to make sure that our children have educational options. So
you mentioned that legislators aren't hearing the voices of black residents of Chicago, for example, just to use that as the example. But they are hearing them, because of these legislators in Chicago that voted to end the Opportunity Scholarship Program here. They get reelected. They're in majority minority neighborhoods in districts. So I guess the question is, in your view, what is the hurdle with black voters to focus on school choice when it comes to informing their vote? So it's one thing. Yes, I support it. I support school choice, just like Dan does. But that's not the basis of my vote. So this is why I'll vote essentially against school choice, because I'm voting for something else when I vote to support somebody who opposes school choice.
Mm-hmm. Well, sure. So I wholeheartedly believe that within the black community, there needs to be more education, so that, by and large, I think a lot of black voters, sometimes by default, think that the Democratic Party is for black people. And what I try to challenge not only black voters, but voters beyond black. My church is a multicultural church, and what I really try to encourage is to scrutinize every political leader in their views, and don't just go with one party altogether, but more so look at policies as opposed to the politics or the politicians, but make sure that the policies that they are running on reflect education freedom. And so I've been trying to encourage churches through town hall meetings, educational sessions that we have with churches, to really scrutinize what are the policies that respective politicians are pushing, to make sure that those policies match our desire for education freedom. So I think it starts with educating this constituency as to the laws that govern education in our respective states, so that when they go to the polls, they go as informed voters, not just one who, sometimes there's just so many political points, about certain high-level things that I think are great, but we need plans, we need specifics, and we need to see an agenda that's going to benefit our children over the next generation, not just political points to stir a crowd.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I mean that's the way to do it, and I wish people were more persuaded by reason and compelled by thinking through things, but it just seems to me that there's a real sort of identitarian hurdle here or wall, and it's difficult to break through. Just to again stay in Chicago, we have the head of the teachers union in Chicago who's a black female. We've got Mayor Brandon Johnson, as you know, and it's all sort of identity politics. It's we're for black people, and anybody who opposes to our policies is against black people, and it's just sort of like what you heard with the Trump thing. It's like he's trying to sort of continue to press the idea that blacks in particularly urban centers are the victims of systemic racism. The Republican Party is a proponent of systemic racism. Any Republican who has an idea that sounds attractive, it's really a feint. It's really a ruse. I mean, it seems like that's still like a significant hurdle in terms of getting an audience with black families in urban centers.
I mean, when you look at the entirety of the black experience in America, I think it's very clear that we have significant work to do to end systemic racism, and that goes beyond education freedom policies and school choice. So there is work that needs to be done in order for black people and other minority groups to experience equity amongst equals. So there is that suspicion there because we still have much work to do. What I think is important is that the black community and beyond begin to look at how we spend our taxpayer dollars, how they're leveraged for the things that we need them to be leveraged for, that they wouldn't uphold the systems, but that they would support the students. And so I'm trying to help black voters and voters beyond the black community to see the opportunity that our communities can have if we had something like education savings accounts, voucher systems. It's not only the opportunity for the parents to be able to leverage their taxpayer dollars to provide educational choices for their children, but it's also the opportunity for organizations such as churches and community leaders to start private schools or learning centers or after-school programs or summer programs to help our children. Parents need options. Our children are at a place now where we're not preparing them to compete or to collaborate globally in a global economy that is merging and that is growing.
Yeah, but that's been the case.
So
That's been the case for 50 years. I mean, I guess my point is to say, so if it's systemic racism, well, fine, then I'm just a honky who grew up in the suburbs, so I'll just shut up. I won't participate, and I'll tell my honky friends not to participate. And it's going to be up to enlightened black leaders like yourself or Corey Brooks in Chicago. It's up to you guys because they don't want to hear from me, and they don't believe me.
I don't think that's true though. But
so I'll just give up, and you guys do it. See what happens.
Well, no, I think that us and them is going to hurt our country. I think everyone needs to lift their voice. I think people who are in the suburbs need to lift their voice. People who are in urban settings need to lift our voice. I think we need to lift our collective voice. And there's going to be some people who's going to reject you regardless. Dr. King said, that he hoped for a country and wished for a country and looked for a country that would not judge a person based off of the color of their skin, but based off of the content of their character. And we have to grow to that. We have to live that. I think that's the true essence of what it could mean to live in America is to have that type of relationship and that type of moral courage and prophetic courage to speak truth to power. So I encourage you to continue to lift your voice. If this is an issue, which I believe is an issue of civil rights and justice, that our parents have these choices to educate their children where they want to educate them and to be able to leverage our own taxpayer dollars to do it, we need you to use your voice and to not grow weary in doing that.
All right, you convinced me. Joshua Robertson is a senior pastor of the
Well,
Rock.
I'm a pastor. That's what I'm supposed
Exactly.
to do, right?
That's
There you
right.
go.
Yeah, it's just very nice. Very
You
well
got
done.
through to him. This
See-
is an epic day.
Yeah, right. Like I was going anywhere. Senior pastor of the Rock Church in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, founder and CEO of Black Pastors United for Education. Pastor Robertson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the call.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Have you noticed all the ads for gold and silver? By now you know if precious metals are right for you. Quite frankly, most major dealers have roughly the same pricing models. Fox Valley Coins offers everything the other large national dealers offer, only with a local, personal touch. Fox Valley Coins will treat you like family. And if you want to stay anonymous, under most circumstances, they don't even need to know your name. Ha! Try that through the mail. When you buy directly from Fox Valley Coins instead of national dealers, you can pick out the actual pieces and they will scientifically analyze the items for authenticity right in front of you. That's a huge advantage. The reason is because 95% of fakes offered are purchased through the mail. Fox Valley Coins buys, sells, and performs appraisals of all precious metals